It's June 2nd, 2026, and the Sacramento Athletics are 25 and 29, 8.5 games out of the division, so probably put that to bed here in early June, but only 2.5 games out of the final wild card spot, currently occupied by both the Angels and the Mariners. So, if we make any headway in the division, could end up making the playoffs as a wild card. Obviously, too early to say here in June. Let's take a look at how we got here. So, the last few games have not been kind to us, winning 1 in 6. However, we were looking pretty good before that point. 12 and 12 in April, 13 and 16 in May, bumped that to 12 and 12. So we were a 500 team, and then we had that skid. Now 4 games under 500. We have a middle-of-the-pack offense and a middle-of-the-pack pitching staff. That's, whatever. That's fine with me. It's better than being awful. We are tied for first in the American League in strikeouts. That's the one thing we excel at. Our defense is good at third in the American League, and hits were third. But this on-base percentage is fairly low. The walks, strikeouts last in the American League. That's something we'll probably have to cut down on, especially considering our home run count is only 7th in the American League. Individually, on the pitching side, we'll start first there. Mason Miller, fantastic. I saw a comment from Around the World Sports on the last video, 2 videos ago. I'm recording this on April 4th, that I should consider trading Mason Miller at 27 and with how many years of arbitration left? 3 years of arbitration. Consider trading him for some prospects, because by the time we're really good, he'll be costing $20 million. He's fragile, 30 years old. I know we're not going to re-sign him, but a 4-WAR pitcher doesn't grow on trees, and right now I'm kind of surprised at the lack of quality offers. It's only like outfielders, and they're mostly under the age of 20. Now, in some cases, that may be good. I mean, this Jorge Quintana guy, he's more of a second baseman. 60 potential, 17 or 19 for him. But Peyton Stovall is nice, and Curtis Mead as well. These are guys we don't need, though, and they're guys that are not worth Mason Miller. Sergio Trejo is the best overall player, but I don't see this moving along at 16. He's not going to be a 75 potential guy. So for Miller, there's nothing really coming out for us, surprisingly. If I look at regulars, we can see what we can get there. Get Logan Gilbert, but he's in a contract that's more expensive and arguably not as good. Drew Thorpe is an option on the minimum, but again, he's having an awful season for the White Sox after they got him for Dylan Cease at the beginning of this sim. Well, that was a real-life trade. TJ Friedel, Emmanuel Clase. So there's some good players, but they all come with their own caveats. I mean, Reese Olson is a good starter, but he's not pitching as good as Mason Miller, and Luzardo maybe, but he's getting paid as well. Oh my goodness, Luzardo, 2.17 ERA, going to pitch for 200 innings, on track for the 3rd consecutive year, but this time he is a bona fide MVP candidate. But we could get him. I don't know. I don't see it happening unless we can get like Bobby Miller and Kyle Hurt. That's just not worth it. He's our guy, homegrown. But who else is pitching well? Not many players on our team, unfortunately. You can see the starters fairly middle of the pack besides Miller. Garrett Clevenger, though, he's going to challenge for reliever of the year as a long man. His expected role is a starter, but he is just kind of our swingman. He's on pace to pitch 122 innings, 3.5 WAR, 2.21 ERA, nearly 200 strikeouts. He is fantastic as our Andrew Miller out of the bullpen. Brennan Bernardino is having a quality season as well out of the pen. He's going to get a big workload, even though he's not a starter and doesn't have as much stamina as Clevenger, but he was a good pickup for us. Brian Abreu as well, 1.61 ERA as our closer, almost strictly our closer, 10 saves on pace for 30. Kikuchi was, I believe, off to a better start than he has been recently. Yeah, in April he was really good FIP-wise. Not as much in May. Has yet to start a game in June. And obviously his ratings and skills have gone down. But at 1.5 million, I mean, he's just an arm to be there as a lefty as well. Sean Dubin, same boat as Kikuchi. I think we just need arms, and they're cheap. I'm disappointed with JP Sears' season. He's been a good pitcher. He was a better pitcher last year, but it seems that he is most definitely a 4.5 FIP guy, and you're not really going to get much more out of him. And it's disappointing as a number 3 starter. Giolito, though, I also expected more from him, but on a 1-year deal, might hit his bonus and bump it up to a $6 million contract, but that's okay. Beyond those two guys, Anthony Maldonado, 2.04 ERA, another quality reliever at the top of our pen. Joe Boyle having a very disappointing season, even with the stuff and 11.3 Ks per 9, just getting murdered on the long ball here with a 2.2 home runs per 9. That should come down with his 55 movement, but I still trust him. He's 26. There's not many other guys I'd replace him with. Stevie Emanuelis has come up for a bit, not excelled. Huascar Ynoa, after his all-star season last year, is on pace to pitch 93 innings. I think we should just start him, but he's not excelling either. Clevenger in long relief. So is he just pitching like blowouts? Because he's our best, whatever. I don't know. That's not how I would be using him. And then Sean Newcomb, only going to pitch 37 innings, or on pace for that at least, after being really rock solid for what he is, which is awesome. That the 3.5 years that he's been in Oakland have already been almost the most fruitful of his career, besides his first 2 seasons with the Braves when he was a starter. So he has revived his career in Oakland and then in Sacramento after we moved. So I'm happy for him. Ryan McMahon, I mean, great season from this guy. We're paying him $4 million to hit like a silver slugger at third base. He'll probably be an all-star, 133 OPS plus. Great third baseman with the glove. Could be a gold glove, silver slugger guy. Now, he started the season like ridiculous, on fire. 175 OPS plus in April, average in May, but the defensive value is still there. And then his only game that he's played in June, 2 hits, a stolen base, and 4 at-bats, and a walk as well. So I love him. I loved him in my last save with the White Sox. One of my favorite players in the league, because out of the park. Lawrence Butler has seriously rebounded after a tough start to the year. 82 OPS plus, rebounded to an all-star level hitter in May, and is continuing that in his 1 game in June. And we really want this ratings profile to come along. Above average hitter, above average defender in right field. Good enough for me at 25. Denzel Clark, an above average center field defender. Going to challenge for the Gold Glove. Not hitting as well as we'd like, but he's better than Estuary Ruiz, who he replaced in center field. And Ruiz with the Mariners is having a poor season with both the bat and the glove. So that was good for us to move on. We picked up a 18-year-old third base prospect, and Panango, who is still in Double-A. Not exactly tearing it up, but he's above average, and at 24, he could see some playing time in the future. 70 void Ks is nice. So that was a good trade for us to give Denzel Clark the full-time opportunity and move off a player in Ruiz who was on the downslide. And the A's just demoted Estuary Ruiz in real life after he started the season on fire. So I don't know what they're doing. We're running the ship a little bit differently, bringing in Jeremy Pena for $2.1 million. Former Maine Black Bear. I still can't get over that he went to the University of Maine. I have been to a ton of hockey games this year. I've really wanted to go to the University of Maine's hockey games out in New England. Wouldn't think of them as a baseball school, but they've produced Jeremy Pena, who is on pace for his best, most valuable season here in his first year in Sacramento. I don't know why I went here. What am I doing? Fielding stats, that's what I wanted. Not great at shortstop, but if he's hitting slightly above average, he's a valuable player. And that's all we really need from him, given that we're paying him so little and we haven't exactly had that level of production at shortstop. We started off with Nick Allen, and then last year having to play Jaloff there, who was not defensively capable and also struggling with the bat. Jaloff down in the minors, probably the last gasp for him with us. Not exactly hitting well in AAA and just hasn't been able to put it all together, unfortunately. But we move on. Tyler Soderstrom, a little bit less production with the bat than I would hope. Hopefully with his guru or his development at first base. No, he's not a positive first base defender now. But 120 OPS plus, 2.5 WAR player, that's a starter. At 24, I'm okay with that, given that he got his first real crack at full-time playing time last season. Matt Mervis behind him, kind of getting shafted in a full platoon role. He's on pace to play less than 100 games. He hasn't been hurt. He's got a 146 OPS plus, but he is just not playing at all against left-handed pitching. Only playing against righties. Has almost all of his production there. And it's fine that he's not playing as much against lefties, but he needs to be in the game every single time we face a right-handed pitcher, and he's kind of not. He only played, or I guess he played 6 games last week. He's been playing a little bit more. Still, though, you can see he's not a part of the starting lineup right now, and I think that's terrible. I love him. I love that we picked him up. He's been our most valuable acquisition so far, getting him for Miguel Andujar, who is in AAA St. Paul and hasn't had an above-average season with the bat since 2023, last season in real life. He stunk. So, picked up Matt Mervis for free. And who else do we get in that? Cantillo, who hasn't done really anything for us, but he's pitching well in AAA, so that's fine. He'll probably replace Kikuchi at some point as a lefty. Darryl Hernandez, he is, I guess you could call this a breakout right now. I forget, was he hurt earlier? I'm playing this for the first time in a while. No, or yes. No, that was the end of last year. So, also in a part-time role as a righty middle infielder. But he's hitting well, and at 24, he's a valuable part of the future, so I want him to also continue to get at-bats. Miguel Vargas just so good at first base defensively that he's generating value even though he's hitting 20% below league average. I don't get it. We're at very high scouting with him. He's got 2 above-average tools, or 2 star-level tools with 60 contact, 60 avoid Ks. 2 above-average tools, and then an average power tool. He just has not been able to put it together, and it stinks. I really want him to. We'll keep him on the team, but he's got to find an answer. Another guy who has got to find an answer, and it's disappointing that he's not, is Nick Gordon. After torching the world in his first half season with us last year, he's continued that second half of the season slump, and he's getting the lion's share of time at second base. I'd like to see Hernandez get most of that moving forward. Shea Langoliers, as I predicted, has fallen off. I should have traded him. I didn't. Defensively, he's worse. He's worse with the hit tool. We'll probably non-tender him if we don't trade him before then. And honestly, at this point, you know what? Let's do it. Suzak, come on in, buddy. I would rather be playing you right now. Got a little bit of burn after an injury to Jonah Heim, who I'll go into next, who's also not hitting well. But Suzak, we're going to put him in, see what he could do. He's about to, or he just turned 25. Better defensive catcher. I mean, he's just a backup eventually, but Jonah Heim has struggled. And we need some production at that position. That's part of the reason I think last year we were so good, because Langoliers and whoever the lefty was, I forget who it was, or whoever the other guy in the platoon was. Please tell me. No. Can't stand this. All right. Sacramento. Catcher, who? Connor Wong, who is not hitting well. We traded Jonah Heim for him, that's right. The two Langoliers and Wong were very good at that spot. Henry Bolte also struggling, unfortunately. Still rated as an average player, just cannot hit the baseball at all, and struggling in limited playing time in center field. Brock Jones as well. Like, I thought this was going to be the platoon, man, that was going to lift us, because both these guys can hit for, however many home runs they're going to hit. Bolte only on track for 12, and Brock Jones only on track for 9. And I thought with 60, 65 power, they'd be 25, 30 home run guys. Just not happening. We're going to keep giving them time. I mean, there's no reason not to. Down on the farm, I guess I can go to this tab. Abraham Tejera is tearing it up. So I was thinking about calling him up if Bolte keeps slipping, like a 183 OPS plus. He is 28, so that's why I'm prioritizing Bolte's development. But he's also capable anywhere in the outfield defensively. For Ohtani, we don't need him for the time being, but he's also slashing in AAA. Brian Buelvis, another righty outfielder that could get some time in the future. Jake Wilson, also just not putting it together all the way. Wish he was better defensively, but he'll probably get a shot next season. That was just an awful first-round pick by the A's. Luis Sandoval was tearing up AA, now tearing up AAA. We got to get more of a sample from him at this level, because he's not going to slug 923, and these ratings still kind of scare me. But elsewise in AAA, they should probably get a pitcher up there. Did bring back Paul Blackburn. Who deserves to go up? We do have some draft picks that have reached AAA, or AA, I should say. Cole Mathis, 45 reliever, College of Charleston. Loving that. He was our second-round pick in 24. Not the great two-way player we anticipated him to be, but is he having a good year? No. We got to leave him down there. Jack O'Loughlin, we didn't draft him. He could probably go up, though. Shep Hancock we also drafted. So a few pitchers that are up pretty far. Manuel Pena. They need an outfielder. Problem is, the farm system isn't really deep anymore, I have to say. It's hard to maintain like a full-bodied farm these days in this game. A lot of our teenagers are flaming out earlier than I would expect. Guys aren't taking to A ball as quickly as I'd expect. A guy like Marcelo Huerta, probably ready. He's actually hitting well in rookie ball, but I'd like to keep him down there until I can be sure. I'll probably call up this guy. Nelson Serpa, he'll be called up pretty soon to A ball. Yeah, so if you I think the next wave of prospects is going to be here pretty soon. Do I have anybody injured? Garindo is injured. That's right. He just keeps getting hurt. I don't know about him. Has only pitched 11 innings. That's why Kikuchi is in the starting rotation. Got hurt on April 15th. And he was originally, I think, supposed to be out for a few weeks, and it has extended to 2 months now, which is unfortunate for him. Brady Basso also hurt. He was pitching better in AAA. Mark Church hurt. Peyton brought back Ref Snyder as well. And that does it for, I think, them. We're still the 22nd farm in baseball. McKernan pitching well. That's good to see for him. But Levi Sterling? No. Ugh. He's probably not going to make it. That stinks. So that's where we're at with the A's themselves. Still the 30th player payroll, 30th budget, awful fan interest, declining attendance in game. Actually, we've bumped that up a little bit to 16,000. I still have the capacity of this stadium at 25,000, and we're not even filling that up just yet. Probably need to start making the playoffs. Everyone in our organization almost has a poor reputation, and we're trying. We're getting there. It's a slow build with a team like this. Adael Amador having a fantastic season, on pace for 9.7 WAR. What? 47 doubles, 24 homers. He's only on pace to play 130 games, and he's still on pace for 9.7 WAR. And he's not even a quality shortstop or second baseman. He's just, the value's there. An 80i is nuts to me. Getting lucky, obviously, with a 376 average at Coors. Dominguez, fantastic so far. Trey Turner. Yankiel Fernandez. Whew. Rocky still just narrowly avoiding being 500, excuse me. Joey Wentz, good year for him. Cole Reagan's bad year for him. I don't know whether, are they like Pythag? Worse. Okay. Surprising. Wyatt Langford has arrived in Texas. Kirk, having a good year, had the opportunity to trade for him. Did not. Jackson Holiday on pace for 46 steals. That's fun. Zach Eflin. Whew. That's why the Astros are doing so well. Anybody else catching my eye? Strider, already 101 strikeouts, on pace for another 300 strikeout season as a starter. That's insane. Houston, I want to check them out. Yeah, so you're not like crazy, and they're not hitting home runs exactly all that well. It's very distributed. And I guess, is Jordan out? Yes. Yeah, he's got the 14 homers. He's out for a few weeks, so their pitching staff is good. Bullpen's great. I guess that's why they gave us Abreu, or we're happy to do that. So they're dangerous. I guess that's it. I'll check back either at the draft or shortly after the draft for our game plan going into the trade deadline. And I wanted to thank everybody for continuing to support this little series I'm doing. I've been very surprised to wake up to the view counts. They're not anything massive, but it's fun to see that anybody even wants to watch this. So thanks for watching. Catch you later in a few days.